We're welcoming Uditi Sen and Chris Thornhill from Liberal Arts to explain what this degree entails and how it is rather special in the variety of subject options it offers. What is Liberal Arts, Chris?
Well, what is Liberal Arts? Liberal Arts is a unique and flexible degree programme at the University of Nottingham. It's not a subject, but it's a way to study a range of subjects. Students are enabled to pursue a journey of their own through different subject areas. It's an old idea, really. The words sound a bit strange, maybe liberal arts, but where this comes from is a tradition of an education suitable for a free citizen, and which is a tradition that we uphold at Nottingham here, in that we enable students to engage in the study of a range of subjects that will enable them to fully participate in all parts of public and professional life.
And what subjects might those be?
So at present, it's upwards of 18 subject areas which students at Liberal Arts have access to. So this includes subjects from across the traditional humanities, such as history, philosophy, theology, but also English, social sciences, psychology, business and maths. And on top of that, they also have access to study a range of modern languages. There are no prescribed pathways through liberal arts at Nottingham's and no packages of subjects which students have to follow. Rather, they plot their own journey and own pathway through it according to their own interests and career ambitions.
And what's the value of doing this and studying in this way?
The value of a liberal arts degree is really that it equips students in two key areas: problem solving and connective thinking. Because we give students the freedom to study across a range of subjects, they understand a whole broad range of methods and strategies for approaching old and new questions, topics and problems. And they're able to think with different tools and understand often complex issues from a range of facets. And because we enable them to take this broad view, they also become great connective thinkers. They understand the value of being able to communicate ideas and information through different formats, sometimes for a specialist audience, sometimes for a non-specialist audience. And this is really where we, I think, excel at Nottingham in our liberal arts core modules, where students are guided to bring their diverse experiences, knowledge and skill sets to bear on particular topics, themes, questions, and do that connective work of staging constructive dialogues around a common theme.
I will also say adaptability and timekeeping. Working between different subjects, definitely those are, you were going to add something.
If I can add on to that, I mean, actually, the value of liberal arts is basically, we exist as a degree because of the way, the world has changed. That, the problems in today's world are so complex that you actually cannot solve them from one single subject area. So that is really like that, we believe that what you're talking about, that adaptability, that ability to collaborate, that ability to think broadly. These are really, key skills to be free citizens of the world today, to be the problem solvers of tomorrow. And that's why, liberal art exists. Like, we are a degree we are, relatively new as a degree, like, in the UK, but we've come into being to reflect those changing times, so that's kind of really where our value lies.
Yeah, creating well-rounded graduates such as me.
Indeed.
But when you're 18, 19, starting university, you're given this long list of opportunities. How do your students go about choosing which areas of study they want to focus on?
We are so proud of our students and we are so impressed by them. Like, they are incredibly good at independent thinking, but it is a supported process. It's a supported process. The way they go about choosing is that they choose the different modules they want to study from the different subject areas. And by doing that, they put together their own degree. Now, what are the principles they follow when they make these choices? I would say there are three main principles our students follow. One is they know what subjects they want to study. They have their own passions, right? And they choose courses from those areas. Sometimes our students come to us with specific interests. It might be climate change. It might be, gender and sexuality. It might be Russian studies. And what we offer to them is the entire expertise of University of Nottingham to, choose from, to explore and curate their own specialization, right? So that is also what students follow. And a third principle, which is also very valuable, is exploration, right? So often students use this opportunity to be a little bit brave, like, try something they haven't had the opportunity to learn before, right? They haven't had the opportunity maybe to learn classics, or maybe, they are passionate about music. They do not want to have a degree in music, but it is there in their life. And if I remember correctly, Daisy, you did a lot of drama.
No.
As parts of liberal arts?
No.
Singing.
No?
Daisy's a singer.
I'm a singer and an actress.
And an actress.
But I did it extracurricular.
I know.
I did it I didn't do many
No, you didn't do the
modules
courses,
in it.
but that is what I'm saying. Liberal arts also opens up the possibility for students to do authentic study, where they can combine together their passion, their interest, their academic query, and the practical head of also keeping an eye out on careers. And it's a supported process. You speak with our tutors. You have access to subject tutors, and we it's not an anonymous degree. We are there to guide you, and the conversation never stops.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because I remember in my first year coming to your office and having a bit of a I'm doing too much, I'm stressed, I am doing a lot of societies and singing and performing, and I'm stressed. And looking back, I always say that I'm so happy that my degree allowed me to do that, and I could come to my tutors and we could talk about that and how we're going to manage those things around it and build it into my degree in a lot of cases. So yes, and I guess going on from that, Chris, how are students supported when they're making those key decisions in what to study?
Well, students are supported. Every student will have a dedicated personal tutor who is somebody who's there at every stage throughout the programme to discuss their development and reflect on what they've done, and take stock of what further skills they want to build, what knowledge they want to build on. So there is a reflective process to this. They also have, of course, the core liberal arts team. We are all specialists in planning and delivering interdisciplinary projects. So we ensure that there is that sort of secure casing for these degrees, so that students find the coherency and the unity in the diversity of subjects that they might be studying. And that's really what makes liberal arts different from many joint honours degrees, really. In many joint honours degrees, students might feel like they're on two parallel tracks side by side, whereas the purpose of these ongoing conversations is to keep bringing that sort of sense of personalisation and unity to each student's journey.
And we've touched on the skills that we gain through the process of multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary study. How are then those skills applied after graduation?
I mean, if we look again at the world today, like a minority of, jobs, employers are looking for, specific depth in specific subject areas, right? So what really, we have data on this, what people are really looking for are, adaptability, flexibility, lateral thinking, problem solving, the ability to kind of jump straight in and kind of, pick up those skills and kind of quickly come up with a solution, an idea, a product. Now, the thing is, these are not ancillary skills in liberal arts. This is an integral part of the liberal arts journey. Our students don't sign up to a degree course and then, the course just happens for them. They are making these choices. They become lifelong learners. They learn to embody this kind of confidence of, of that flexibility, of that kind of thinking. Asking questions outside the box, right? Because they don't study in a box. They kind
No,
of
yeah.
they create their own journeys. But having said that, we don't leave it all to our students. We also kind of build it into our design of our core modules. So our core modules have a real world orientation when it comes to the assessments. So we teach based on themes, and these themes, are themes which we can find in different subjects, different disciplines. The themes vary from year to year. Maybe real world themes like migration or, climate change. It might be something like objects or bodies. So those vary. So that's not the important bit. They vary. The important bit is the assessments are never exams. As a liberal arts students, you might be, writing a blog post. You might be curating an exhibition. You might be writing a report. Now, you also write an academic essay. You also learn how to do a literature review. And we have a capstone project at the end where, students really authentically bring together what they've learned in their different subject areas, right? And this can also be a creative process, right? So how students apply it, if I give you kind of some examples, we have had a liberal arts student who, combined, their love of this curating an exhibition in a core module with doing an internship in a heritage industry, and then went on to actually choose a career in the heritage industry, right? We have also had a student who's written, because we give them the option to be creative. They've done a creative piece where they have actually written 3 songs on the trans experience of coming out, and then has gone on to author a musical, which I was so proud to kind of go and witness. In London, you know them, right? Yeah. So there are, but also students do conversion courses in law. They go up to do, masters or MScs in higher education, right? They make their final year project about the industry in which they're looking for jobs. So really, every single student is unique, authentic, and we kind of, support them to make those linkages and to kind of, look forward and to bring their learning in an authentic way.
I did monologues for one of mine.
Into liberal arts.
Knew someone who did a painting.
Like monologues, painting, but also, reports, excellent in-depth research, right? So, and
educational resources is a popular one as well.
I did one of those as well.
A lot of our students move towards educational careers.
Yes, absolutely.
So build resource packs for teachers. Or even material aimed at different stages, learners at different stages.
Liberal arts. Sorry, did you have more to add to that?
No, one bit is the flexibility, because just like our students can choose any combination of subjects, they can also change their mind in a supported way, right? And this is very important because ask any undergraduate in the year 1, semester 1, very few of them will know what careers they want. Right? Your world explodes at university. You should be able to grow at university. That's the whole point. So at liberal arts, we are a degree that grows with you, right? Indeed. So as you grow, we offer that supported way to kind of change your mind, shift around your subject choices. We ensure you get the prerequisites. We ensure the coherence, as Chris mentioned, right? That's what we are there for. But we are there to kind of support that growth. And I think that flexibility also allows our students to respond to advice from careers, feedback from internships, and kind of build a coherent kind of education for themselves.
And this is a growing area. More and more universities are offering liberal arts and developing their own programs.
Yes.
Why Nottingham?
I think there are several things I think which we do really, really well at Nottingham. The first one is what I ended the last question with the flexibility. The fact that we do not curate courses for you. And this is something which our entire team, we are very passionate about because, our generation hasn't done very well to solve global problems. We have done very well to create global solution problems. So I don't believe we should be curating education which provides those answers. I believe the lead should be taken by students. So that flexibility, that our students put together subject choices, right? And our students have the flexibility to kind of, move from one subject area to another subject area is a key aspect of liberal arts, that it's not just, like you're not put on a track, right? And we spend a lot of our time, supporting that flexibility, making that flexibility, accessible, making that supported, making that not daunting. So that's a big thing which we do at Nottingham. Another important part of our liberal arts degree, beyond kind of the flexibility, is also how we look towards authentic assessments and an authentic education, that we leave our core modules as a space where students bring together, what are their serious hobbies and, their educational preoccupations, right? What are their, own kind of questions which kind of, agitate them, and, what kind of skills they can pick up. What are they hearing from careers? What skills do they already have, right? What simply are the subjects they excel at? How can they kind of, combine that in a way that actually has value in the world beyond? So that, ability to bring things together, to kind of get in internships, placements, study abroad. I mean, I believe at Nottingham, liberal arts students, including you, Daisy, we kind of punch way above our weight in terms of our uptake of internships, or study abroad or placements. We are quite literally everywhere.
We have
like every
so many
opportunity.
people in the SU as well that go
Yes,
on. And
Students' Union.
Society presidents, like so much over-representation of liberal arts students.
That's
just
what I'm
being
saying.
super engaged
And I
with
think there's a
things.
reason for that.
Yeah.
The reason is that, we break down these walls between what's a hobby, what's education, what's achievement, what's career. And we kind of go with our belief that, every single student is here to succeed, right? And you folks do. You folks do. So we spend a lot of our time going around being proud, going one of ours. So, yeah.
I would add one more thing as well.
Yeah.
I think Nottingham exceeds at is that the core liberal arts team, we are all, excellent practitioners of interdisciplinary work ourselves. None of us are contained in a singular disciplinary box, and we're all involved in engagement outside of academia in different ways and sort of driving change in areas of policy and health and environment and communities. And so that's how we're able to sort of shape those core modules in the curriculum so that students can take their energies and take their experience and their interests into a sort of a wider conversation and give them the confidence to enter that conversation.
There's one other minor point, Chris.
Yep.
Though we are called liberal arts, we are one of the few degrees who also offer science subjects.
Oh, good one.
We do offer psychology, and we do offer maths, and psychology in particular is quite popular with our students.
Yeah.
So we actually, the name, so the breadth we offer is actually broader than what the name suggests.
Brilliant. Thank you. You can find out more about liberal arts at Nottingham via the website.